Hello, and welcome to the 2026 voting session for the Family Tree Maker Suggested Innovations. These are suggestions that were added or brought up from previous suggestions in the Family Tree Maker Suggested Innovations Facebook group. There are 206 suggestions on this voting session across 26 categories. Um, basically they're broken down into categories and they're listed with definitely want, which I kind of consider as okay, this is something you would use often. Want is something's like, well, you might occasionally use it if it was implemented. And then don't care means you wouldn't use it or you don't care if it's implemented or not. You can either leave it blank or if you click don't care, um, it means the same thing, so it doesn't matter. So if you don't feel you have to mark every single item here, some of them, if you don't understand, just leave blank. Um, if you would ever want to read up on them, you can click on this link here for the Docs Google. This will bring you to the master sheet where you can look it up. There is a 2026 voting tab, uh, and these are in order for how they are on the list, drawn down by category. And then, so if you're wondering what a certain, if you'd like to read up more, because we do have to kind of condense the information, you can click on the link here, which will take you to the Facebook discussion about that topic. Um, so you can read up more about exactly what it all entails. Now, you do have to be a member of the Suggested Innovations group to read this because it is a private group. So anyway, just enter in your email. What this will do is once you finish, you go all the way down and submit your answers. Uh, then you will get them emailed to you. Um, Oops, here we go. Then they will get, once you submit them, they will get emailed to you. And there's a couple bonuses. Well, one, you don't have to get through this entire list all in one session. You can pick up where you left off. Or maybe a week down the line, maybe after reading up on more of them or talking to other people, maybe you might want to change some of your responses. You can go back and edit your responses without filling out the whole form or all over again. Um, so that is why, and that's the only purpose of the emails. Once we tally the votes and make sure that people only vote but once, uh, the email addresses are discarded and they are not used. Software Makia doesn't even see them. I'm the only one that even sees those email addresses. So why don't we start under the category of backup? They want the option to compact file when backup is complete instead of clicking OK. Because basically now when you back up, you do have the or I'm sorry, when you compact, you do have the option to back it up first, but then you do have to, after it clicks, you have to click OK, and then it will compact. And they basically just say, well, it's going to do it automatically. Why just have it go right into compact and be done with it? Uh, so a unique name for every backup, even though it's done on the same day, because if you notice when we had it back up, it always depends like the date. Well, so now if I do a backup again, it's going to want to overwrite. And in general, you never want to, when it overwrites, it's going to delete the last one first, the last backup. And in general, you don't ever want to delete your last backup before this one's complete. Um, so you'd typically, if you don't want to do that, you'd have to tack on like an A or B or a time something. So basically, it's just asking, so to have a unique backup or a unique name each time. This other one is sorted. This is mainly if you transfer stuff to another computer. Basically, have a way of transferring just the updated information. Uh, you can use, if your tree is linked to Ancestry, you can do it somewhat, but not everything syncs with Ancestry, thus won't get to the other computer. And sometimes if you got big backups, like my main backup is like 18 gig with all the media, and some media I replace and stuff like that. Uh, so to transfer to my other computer, well, that's an 18 gig transfer. Um, so anyway, just have a way of just transferring just the updated information between computers. Uh, now under the term of color coding, it's just basically have more colors or options or pattern symbols, so it doesn't just have to be just colors. Um, have color codes on the person tab. So like right now see color codes here, but like you go to the person tab and nothing, no colors. So you don't know what color it is. So basically just have that. Uh, and also if you manually assign colors, basically be able to bulk clear. So if you manually add colors for something, so say, hey, okay, I want to add this one as um, green. This person is green. You know, I can't just manually unclear them. I would have to go in here and physically uncheck them, or I could clear all color codes, which, I wouldn't want to necessarily do. So basically just say, okay, I want to clear all the greens, that I manually added. So, uh, sorry. Yeah, bulk clear. Okay. Yeah, on to now the new feature, the Connect tab in the Family Tree Connect app. So here, this is the Connect tab here. Um, on the Connect app, they'd like to be able to view tasks in the app. I mean, they do sync. Um, this tree, I may not have any I don't have any tasks. They do update to the tree vault, but you can't view them, so they'd like to be able to view them. And likewise, the sticky notes. Once a sticky note's created, you cannot delete it. Even replacing the tree will not delete it. So just have a way of deleting them. And then someone wants like an iPad only version of Family Tree Maker. They don't want like the Family Tree Connect. They want it to be just kind of or very similar to Family Tree Maker, just strictly all on the iPad. Now in display, blended families show on a family by family basis. Blended families were I did I did create I did create a sample here of blended families. So with blended families, it shows with these two icons here for child one Ross that, okay, this one is attached to George and Joanna. Child two, since it only has one icon, uh, it's only attached just to George because it's George and Catherine. Now that I switched over to Catherine, see child one only shows because it just shows to that. This is a global option, so it's always on or always off. And basically, this suggestion was that basically you could have it on for certain families and off for other families. Um, this next one, 170750, in purple view, the ability to use the back arrow or mouse to go back to the previous person. So if you're working on a person, like here, I just switched to George Catherine. Well, who was I on before? Because I jumped. Was I on this person? Basically have a way of just getting back to whoever you were last on. I'm going to just mark these just so I don't lose my place. Ability to select a preferred relationship when multiple relationships exist. This is on here where it says the third great grandfather. Now, this is a small tree, so there's probably not, but you got enough like we're cousins of married cousins, and if we go back far enough, everyone's got that. You can be related to someone in multiple ways, and Family Tree Maker always picks the shortest connection, even if it's not by blood. You could have someone who's, um, your eighth great grandfather and your ninth great grandfather, because you descend from one of the brothers who's also a great grandfather, but that one may show up as an uncle. Or you may even have stuff where you're related on both sides, but anyway, it's like just have a way of showing the preferred relationship that you would like. Um, Then, okay, this is along the lines of visual cue where multiple relationships do exist. So likewise, right now, to see if there is one, you would have to go into the relationship calculator. In this one, there is only one, but if there's two, three, four, basically they'd like some type of visual indication that say, okay, hey, you are related in multiple ways. Um, and this is along the lines, have a drop-down visual of multiple relationships. This one modular windows so you can move sections around, including multiple monitors. This is, a frequent thing is, maybe they'd like this name index here, visible on the person tab. Or if you do have multiple monitors, maybe I want the person tab over on my second monitor and still maybe have a tree in this tree view on one monitor, maybe media tab or places open on another. Basically, you can arrange, you've got more layout options. You can manually rearrange where these boxes are. Uh, Ability to show and identify double cousins and three-quarter siblings. That's just double cousins. That's where, if you have, well, it's like I've got my grandma, three of her sisters married three brothers. So their descendants are double cousins to each other because they're first cousins on both their mother's and father's side. And three-quarter siblings is if, say a couple have a child, one of them passes away, and then the other one marries the sibling of the other and has another child. Those two children, they're not half siblings, they're three-quarter siblings. So, um, display toggle to change the display to be like Family Tree Maker 16. There's a lot of diehard users still using that. The main reason is they say it's faster to enter in information. I haven't used it, so I can't really comment, but that's the frequent feedback I get about that. It's a more streamlined interface. So basically, they just like the option to toggle to change that. Um, be able to display a date format in year, month, day. I mean, right now you got the option of month, day, year, or day, month, year. So they just like that. Easy on the eyes in more, if not all areas, because easy on the eyes, that's where you can click on stuff and it will make it bigger. Um, so it's easy, but it's only on the people tree tab. You go to person, you don't have it. You go to places, you don't have it. You've only got the easy eyes on just this one section, and everything here can be increased. But like I said, it's only here. They want it everywhere, or at least more areas. Uh, Here's one to always show the relationship status, even if no marriage fact, and also show child status. Because see, like right here, this is the marriage status. Uh, but if there's someone that say there is no marriage fact, let me go back somewhere further. Okay, there is no marriage fact, there is no marriage status. And likewise, if maybe, I mean, they were likely married, um, and that status is there, but it won't show because there's no marriage fact. And if by chance it was, say, partner, they'd maybe like it to say partner ongoing or deceased. However, while back this far, they're deceased. Anyway, they just like it to always show. Mhm. Um, Use alphanumeric sorting, sort numbers as numbers, because basically, especially like say media, if you got something like item like picture 1, 2, 3, 4, if you sorting, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 would come right after, say, picture 1, 2, 3, and before 1, 2, 4, because it does an alphabetical sort rather than numerical. So they'd want the numbers to always sort. uh, Use large fonts, should apply to all dialog boxes. For Windows, you've got this option to use large fonts, which does help some, because here I turned it off. Here I turned it on. But now, if you'll go into a dialog box, like especially like, say, sources, uh, whether I use this on or off, it makes no bearing to the text in here. So they'd like it to also to increase the font size here. Uh, and to be able to display multiple parents on screen charts reports. So if you've got someone with maybe an adopted family and a biological family, they like to somehow be able to see both sets of parents at the same time, both on the screen, charts and reports. Right now, the only way to really see multiple parents would be on the person tab and under relationships is appears where you could see multiple fathers, mothers listed. That's the only visual place that it's possible. You can't see multiple parents in any view here, even if it's because they'll only show the preferred parents. And all preferred means is where there's only a spot to show one, it will only show the preferred. And the same thing goes with facts. Okay. So on DNA, basically on Ancestry, you can attach DNA kits to people, and there's a little icon that will show up. They'd basically like something similar to that to show up on Family Tree Maker. So that's something Ancestry is going to have to provide that information along with then Family Tree Maker would have to implement it. On editing, basically integrate handwriting analysis software. So this would be on media items to transcribe. Uh, ability to ignore errors so that they don't show up as future errors. This would be more on the like data errors report, where maybe uh, uh, you know, where a wife has the same surname as this husband. Uh, sometimes that is the case. But it will always show up as an error. Uh, Same thing. Well, this will also go into other things like find duplicate people and say, okay, these two people for sure aren't. And um, okay, ability to purge all unused items, media, citations, places. There are ways to find if there are, maybe you've deleted people in the past. It wouldn't delete any media attached just to them or citations. 2024 did take care of that, but you could still have that all pre stuff for people you've deleted pre 2024. So right now, the only way to do it would be to export your tree, but if it's linked to Ancestry, that exported tree won't be linked, so that's not an ideal situation. So it's just a way of purging that without having to do the export. Using find and replace, do a back and undo option. Because when you do find and replace, looking for stuff, you may not want them all to go at once, but you might get a little click happy and go past one, and you got no way of going back without restarting all over again. Be able to copy and paste shared facts between people. You can copy individual facts between people, but not shared facts. Shared fact is like marriage, divorce, stuff like that. Have a fan club per person. So if you know what fan means, it's friends, associates, neighbors. So it could be like people on a census, uh, witnesses to a marriage, godparents at a baptism. It's kind of researching that stuff in a way to tie them together. Um, be able to view marriage, divorce facts while on the relationship tab. Uh, on the person tab, now let me get to someone that's got something here. You know, here we got engagement, marriages and stuff. But now if you go to the relationship tab, you can see relationship, but there's no marriage, there's no dates for those shared facts. Okay, add, print, export, save as filter option for list of results. Okay. Certain things, like if you do find individuals up here, yeah, find individual and say you want to find living here, but basically have a way of saving this, maybe create a filter from this um or to print it out. Right now you got no option. And once you leave it, all right, the other option is like to find duplicate people, same type of thing to be able to save and export that. Because right now you basically have no way of doing that. Be able to add family members when pasting facts. You can paste facts between family members, but if it's, say, a census fact it can't add people. So they basically want the option to add people at the same time while they're pasting this fact and to paste that fact to these new people. Okay, this goes back to keep the list results list to find individual after go to. Because now here I did that list, but now okay, here because I say I did living. Came up this and it's like, okay, I can say go to this person. But now if I go back to edit, manage fat or edit, find individual, well, the list is cleared. So I have to redo the search again and then hopefully remember where you left off, you know. So it's basically have a way of saving that list. Kind of like on the, if you noticed earlier when I did the find duplicate, when I left it, it gave the option, hey, do you want to save this list so that the next time you come here, it will populate. So basically, they'd like something like that. Uh, Option to autocorrect proper case when manually entering a name. So basically, if you want to, add a child, so maybe you just say child, okay, it would automatically capitalize the C in child. Or maybe you had the all caps lock. Or likewise, maybe you like having the surnames all in caps, it could automatically capitalize the surname. Um, Basically, it could automatically do that while you're typing. Be able to split a person into two separate people and allow choice of which fact source goes with each person. That would be for, say, if you find out, oh, I've been merging two data from two different Patrick Kennedys into here. So I want to or Patricia Kennedy. So I want to basically duplicate this person and but then be able to pick and choose, okay, this fact goes with this one, this fact goes with this one. Okay, on facts, have a proven, disproven, dispute fact options. So on the person tab, basically it'd be like little check boxes, somewhere where you could say, okay, this is proven, disproven, maybe it's speculative, uh, have options. Allow parent, child, or any non-spouse um, or multiple person shared facts. Right now, shared facts are unique to or only for partners, couples, uh, because and that's also how a family tree maker determines it. Is if they have a shared fact, they are a couple or a partner, but basically just have a way of doing that. Some people wanted to do like a census, so basically you have one census record that's tied to these five people or, the parents and the children. Or this also goes into like the fan club and stuff, so the witnesses to a marriage, stuff like that. Uh, be able to remove or hide built-in facts that you don't wish to use. You can adjust like custom facts, but if there's certain facts, say if you don't have any Jewish people, you're probably not going to use bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, but you've got no option to get rid of them from the list. If you don't if you aren't a member of the LDS church, you probably won't be using these LDS facts. So they'd basically just like a way to get rid of some of these built-in ones that maybe you don't use. Okay, that was that one. Be able to copy a fact to a list of people. So if you've got like a filter of people, maybe you want to add a certain fact to all of them at once. Maybe you've got a list of people that were at a reunion and you'd want to add a reunion fact to all of these people all at once. That's what you could use it for. Um, and I mean, there's other things. That's just what popped to my mind. Be able to word wrap the description field of a fact. I probably don't have much on this one, but like if you got, especially on census records, you might have a lengthy description. Well, have a way to word wrap so that this may could be multiple lines, so you can see the whole thing at once. Because right now, if it goes on and on, you know, it's just that you can't see the whole thing. You'd have to cycle through or copy and paste it into, a notepad or um, something like that so that you could see the whole thing. Be able to designate which facts are displayed under personal information versus individual facts. That's here. These are personal information, individual facts. One thing is like some people have like custom facts that they'd like to be under the personal information, and you just don't have that option. These are kind of hard coded. And so they'd like to be able to say, okay, I want this fact to display up here. Be able to color code individual facts based on confidence level of fact. So basically have color coding based on the individual facts. So, like green is good. Maybe red is like, okay, this is really iffy. Or maybe it's even an unsourced fact, you know. Add an explanation field for fact types for the purpose of that fact. So that would be under edit manage facts. So especially if you'd have a custom fact, I mean, you got properties, but basically kind of like have a notes field or something as to, okay, what's the purpose of this fact? I mean, in this case, this is for Family Book Creator. Um, so basically have some way of just saying, okay, what this fact is used for in this tree. Be able to tag people in the description so you can jump to that person. So basically, this would be a good thing. So, like, say on a marriage, so if you had witnesses or godparents on a baptism, you could basically add people, and then if you click on it, it would jump to that person in your tree. Uh, Tool to remove leading spaces and names from and places, especially sometimes when importing, you could have stuff that starts, with the space, which can kind of throw off things. If you enter them, you don't have it, but if you import it, say from a JEDCOM or something, that's where you can get the blank spaces and just have a way of just have it automatically remove them. So, okay, now on the purpose of filters now, okay, add the ability to filter on color. Right now you can, I don't have filters on here. You've got a variety of ways, but you can't say, okay, I want to show just filtering those that, have the red color. Right now you can't unless you created a filter and then assign that color to it. But you can't say just show me all the one that's red or uh, okay, ability to find people with multiple mothers, fathers. I mean, you can find people with filters with multiple spouses, but not with multiple parents. Um, and kind of along that same line, a SQL access to the database so you can do your own queries, data manipulation. Because with a SQL access, you can find that type of information. You can do a lot of powerful inquiries. Charting Companion does can do some of the stuff with the JEDCOM of your tree, where you can find out, where Smith married a Jones. You can find couples that have no children. You can find people with multiple parents, stuff like that. Um, and then here, be able to filter in or out just immediate family members or extended family. You can filter in your ancestors, you can filter in your descendants, but not like your immediate. Can't just say filter out my descendants or something like that. Uh, yeah, and be able to filter out the ancestors or descendants. You can bring in the ancestors, you can bring in the descendants, you can't filter them out. 'Cause some people would like to say, okay, start from my great grandparents, filter in the descendants, but then say, but from my grandparent, their child, filter out those because, I'm more interested in the cousins and stuff. Um, be able to filter on calculated or hidden fields. So you might want to create a filter for where relationship status is first cousin, second cousin, you know, uh, fifth cousin, whatever. Uh, you can't do that. Or you could do stuff for, well, that was the main thing was for those relationships, but also like age of death, stuff like that. Action queries, perform with filters. This is so if you've got a list of people, you want to be able to do something to all of them. Maybe add a fact type to all those people. Maybe you'd want to add a task to all those people. Um, that's what it is. You have a group of people and you want to do something to all of them. Um, so uh, be able to filter for those with or without a profile image, so you've got no way of filtering that information currently. You want to see, okay, I want to see all the people that have a profile picture, or maybe I want to filter those that don't. You just don't have that. And then lastly, they like to be able to print out those filter conditions because some of them can get elaborate. Uh, but even if not, I mean, right now you have to take screenshots and basically just be able to print out your filtered lists and what the actual filters are. Now, just under general, ability to cancel out things that are taking too long, because sometimes maybe you generate like a report, like a kinship report. If you got for a number of people, that can maybe take longer than you expect. Uh, and sometimes even clicking cancel, it doesn't immediately come out. It can take a while. Ability to remove all bookmarks. Right now, it's like you add bookmarks one at a time. You have to remove them one at a time. So some people want just the ability to remove them all at once. Uh, Provide a way for users to build their own family tree maker source family genealogy website. Um, that's just a way you can take your data and basically generate HTML codes uh, so you can host your own family website. Uh, it's kind of like using Family Tree Maker Connect only on a web page and stuff like that. Be able to select the font and size and notes because right now they're just kind of one size. Have a correspondence log so you can log, uh, you know, e emails, letters, stuff like that. Just say, okay, I've contacted this person on this date, um, stuff like that. Um, this is kind of similar to that previous one. Be able to mark people as not duplicates so they don't reappear on the duplicate person check. And say, yep, these two people definitely are not duplicates because sometimes like twins get flagged. Allow open access for database for third-party access. This is kind of along the lines of allowing the SQL access. It's basically you can do a lot more elaborate queries and stuff like that. Um, be able to search all your trees for a surname because if you maintain, say, maybe multiple trees, you may say, oh, I found this surname and that rings a bell. Okay, which trees do I have the surname in? It'd just be a way of finding that out. Because right now you'd have to maintain like surname reports and so have a time date field viewable when the person was last changed and be able to filter and reports on it. So a thing like up here, say, okay, this person was last changed at this date and time. And then you'd want to say, okay, what people have all changed in the past month or past year? I could envision, say, if you had a family reunion and then 2 years later you have another one, you could run a report. Okay, what information has been added or changed since my last reunion with these people? So you could have a report, so list, okay, here's some data that was changed. We found that got corrected, or maybe, okay, this new people added, new births or marriages, um, deaths, stuff like that. Okay, on hints, basically they'd like to be able to get hints from Find My Past, My Heritage, other sources, kind of like with Ancestry. Ability to see photo hints. You can, in Family Tree Maker, you can, uh, on the Ancestry website, you can see them, but not like in the web view. Um, and for Family Search, sometimes duplicate people can get merged. Well, you may have the family search ID for the person that got merged, so that ID may have changed and basically have some form of a notification when that happens. Um, in Family Tree Maker. So on import export, maybe have a way of excluding certain notes when exporting a tree. Because right now it's kind of all or nothing. And then here, be able to import items from another tree, maybe your color coding, filters, tasks, report settings, books. So maybe you've got custom sources and like custom facts, uh, custom media categories. You could just import them from another tree. Okay, now these are Mac specific because these work on Windows but not Mac. Uh, On a Mac, if you remove a media item, you don't have the option to actually delete it. Uh, and the ability to expand the size of the source title field window. Because and basically, and any pop-up windows on the Mac you can't move, where Windows you can. Because, well, like here, if I go here to a source, if I bring up this window, see, I can move this around. On a Mac, you can't. So. Now for media, okay, find a way to find duplicate media to merge. Um, be able to add tags to media files and then be able to search for media based on those tags. Um, some people like to, if you have Family Tree Maker copy the media, it all jumps it into one directory, which is fine. Family Tree Maker keeps track of it. But some people like it to be under subfolders. So they'd like that option. You can categorize media. You can even assign multiple categories to the same media item, but you can't have subcategories. So they'd like subcategories for the media categories. Uh, when you go to attach existing media, you really don't have any search options. So if I go here and I want to say a link to an existing media item, you can maybe type in the first letter, but you really don't have any search options. And there's a variety of ones along this line. Ability to drag and drop media to a citation. Because like if you got a person, you can drag a media item. Let me just like the 6th gen. See, I can just drag this media item over here. I think I probably already got it. What's it doing? Yeah, it's yeah. So I can drag it, but see now if there's a citation, uh, get to some of the citation. Okay, birth, media, and say, okay, I want to add a media item to that. Oh, no, that's, yeah, to this. Now, this isn't the media item, but, I can't drag. I could say link or I could say attach, but I can't. No, I'd have to point to where it was. I can't drag and drop. So that's what they'd like for that. This one's similar, like correct order for media files. 3423 doesn't show up between 342 and 343. This is kind of like that numerical sort for numbers from earlier, but this one's specific for media files. Be ability to tag an individual media. I mean, you can attach the same media item to multiple people, but like how certain things, if you go up to a person's face, you could hover over and say, okay, that's JFK, that's Jacqueline, that's, so and so. I mean, I can have this picture attached to all four of them, um, which it is, but it doesn't necessarily say who's who. And then likewise, when in the media detail, allow linking to other people. So like I said, this one is attached to these four, but you can't add anyone. Let me like, for instance, like here, let me go, yeah, see here, Joseph and Rose Kennedy. If I go usage, see, okay, this one's only attached to Rose. But from here, I've got no way of attaching it to Joseph. I would have to um, go to Joe, and then link to existing, find it. So basically, be able to do it from that media detail. And then, yeah, add a search bar for media so you can basically just search for media because right now it's like you can't really, oops. Because see, this search find right here is only for this list right here. So basically, if it's by person, I could type in Patrick and go, well, actually, I probably have to go by Yeah. See, I even have to go by the surname. Uh, there really needs to be more ways to search for media. Because if I go like all media, about basically the best you can do is type the first letter. Well, from here you can't even do that, but so basically just add more ways to find media. Uh, be able to paste image in a paste buffer directly to Family Tree Maker. So say if you did a screenshot uh, and it's just in memory, it's not saved. Basically, they'd want it to paste it directly into Family Tree Maker, and then it'd ask for a file name. Because right now you'd have to save it and then add it. Be able to type more than one letter when searching for media. Because, like I said, if I go like here, first, and if I say link to existing, I can type the first letter, which will take me to there. But okay, if I want to type JF or JG, you only type the first letter. And like I said, there's only 54 media here. But if I go to my main tree where I've got, about 18,000 media items, it can be kind of tedious. So, um, and similar when searching for citation media, include a find box. There is none. Retain all metadata when using Photo Darkroom. Metadata, it can store extra information, like you can store extra information, like maybe where the picture was taken, when it was taken, what camera took it. But like if you tweak a photo in the Photo Darkroom, it will get rid of uh, some of that metadata. So if you use some of this to well, this picture isn't that bad, but well, maybe if I do a crop, I want to do a circular, it wipes out that metadata. So, and likewise with Photo Darkroom, it always saves the original, so you don't have to worry about, oh, you lost information. But okay, have the date section for media be an actual date field because, like here, see if you go into you do have a date field, but you can type in, January 18th, 2026, or you could type in, and that's fine. I mean, or 18 Jan. But I mean, you could also type in, um, your Humpty Dumpty. It doesn't even have to be a date. They like it to be actually a date field, and then that way you can standardize the date formats, kind of like how you can in Family Tree Maker for entering facts, so that the dates are all uniform. So to make that actually a date field. Uh, Tool to find media in a tree's media directory that isn't referenced in Family Tree Maker. Because now in Family Tree Maker, it stores the data. Because let me see, this is the Kennedy media. There could be media in here that's not actually attached. And basically have a way of finding it because when you do a backup, it backs up your Family Tree Maker file and then basically whatever's in here, whether it's attached or not to people in your tree. Uh, so somehow maybe, because we've had some people say, well, all of a sudden my backups are huge. Well, here they inadvertently backed up something here, or if they restored their tree, they actually restored it into a media directory and So they're backing up extra data that they didn't intend to. Um, um, when unlinking media, make default option to move the file to the recycling bin. Because, yeah, so say if I say, okay, I want to um, unlink this, this Windows, we got the option to move to recycle bin, but that's not default. They want it to basically to make that a default option. Um, Allow more sorting options for media because right now you've got options to sort by under options or preferences for Mac. You've got the option, to either sort by caption or sort by file name. That's it. They'd basically like more options, where kind of like in File Explorer, you can sort by file type, you could sort by size, you could sort by date. Um, just more ways to sort the data. And it's all ways to help find media. Uh, this is a new one, AI photo recognition or interface option with sites that do, to help identify pictures. Be able to cycle through all media for a person from their personal media tab. Because what that is, yeah, you can like click on this individual media, but then you have to close it, go here. You can't do, what they want to be able to do is like, say, if you're on here, to be basically just be able to cycle through only this is all the media in your tree. They'd like to be able to do this for, be able to cycle back and forth, from here, so they can open it up full screen and just hit front and back to cycle through all the media attached just to that person. And so that's what that suggestion is asking for. Um, and then here in the photo darkroom to add a colorize option for the photo darkroom. So that's pretty straightforward. For the name index, okay, be able to show the name index on the person tab. This is the name index, and they like it if you're on the person tab, you could still see that name index. Uh, be able to do a wildcard searches in the file name. So basically, it's I want to do a search for, okay, I know the name starts with FAS, or it's somewhere in the middle is like FAS. Um, so I'm be able to find it because right now, basically, you can only start by typing stuff by basically the surname or the first name. That's how it finds. You can't search for anything else. Have a split entry box for surname, first middle when searching for names. Because maybe you're only looking for like a first middle name, like Stephen, maybe first or middle name, but you don't want to start hitting Stevenson's or something like that, or vice versa. If you're um, so option to not have the title sort when displaying the title. You have the option in here to use title if available. I'm not sure if I've got titles in here, but then that does affect the sort because it would be like, say, if there's uh, is well here. Let me just add a title fact, and say like he was a doctor. Yeah, see, so now the doctor it put it under David, so even though it's Dr. Gilbert. So it does affect that sort. Um, have a standard surname field for family lines where the surname is changed spelling and be able to sort by that. Basically, if you have, certain things like in my name's Fossbender with two S's. Even my dad's cousins, some of them dropped an S, so it's just one S. But they'd basically like to be able to see, all the Fossbenders, no matter how they're sorted, grouped together. Um, because there's Fossbender, Fassbender, Fossbinder. Basically have a common surname you can sort by. And a lot of that can be, to find, maybe you might have duplicate people, but one you might have different surname spelling, so you don't see it. So, option for a name index search for any part of the name. So if you say want to search for a middle name, stuff like that. And this is also to help find possible duplicates. Option to disregard the middle name when sorting. Because you might have a John Doe or you might have, say, a John Quincy Doe that might actually be the same person, but they won't be sorted together. They'll be near each other, but if you've got like a lot of John Does, for notes, basically be able to create tables within notes. You can't really do that now. Have relationship notes for parent-child. You can't do that. You can do relationship notes for, couples, but not a parent-child, even though they do have a relationship status, biological, adopted step. And they'd also like to basically put URLs or hyperlinks, web addresses in a note, and then have them clickable so um, it would open up that web page. You could put in a note, like that. That's a code that's easy code to McKee's live chat, but basically be able to click on it and go to that. Um, Okay, under people, when exporting a branch, have the ability to delete as well. You can delete a group of people. That's using the chart method. There's a FAQ on uh, there is a FAQ on Makia's website on how to do that. Um, so we can select that. So like here, so I would have the option now to delete from the file these people. Um, or I've got the option to export them, but then say I got the option to export, but then they'd also like basically to um, do both at once, to export and delete. Have pop up for relationship when option with option to set default relationship. So when you add a couple, uh, it will always default to a spouse. You can change that, but they basically like the option for it to pop up, say, hey, is this a spouse or is it a partner? Uh, so they'd like basically like that. Uh, okay, be able to generate notes, media, web links tab tasks directly from the person tab. So basically on the persons tab, basically right from here, they'd basically like to be able to run a notes report. They'd like to be from here, run a media report. Here, run a web links report. Run a tasks report for this person. They'd like to do it right from here. And web links you can't do from anywhere. So um, on the person tab, have the option to display the age when facts occurred on the fact view. So basically on here, basically be able to display the age. Right now you'd have to click on the timeline to see it. but then now you don't see the sources, stuff like that. So basically, they like those ages to show. Oops. They like the option to have the age show, like probably in a separate column on this view. Okay, show half siblings on the relationship tab. Uh, 'Cause now here on the relationship tab, you'd only see full siblings because based on the couple up here, but you wouldn't see half siblings, and they'd like that option. When merging duplicate people, have the option to merge duplicate family members too. So basically, it would look and say, okay, you got multiple parents here, with similar names. Do you want to merge them? And oh, how about siblings? And how about your spouse and wife and children? And because if you merge trees, if you if it missed one people, odds are it missed spouses and parents and stuff like that. On the duplicate person tab, so basically, yeah, this won't take it. So like basically on here you can go to that person. Basically, they'd like to see both people side by side. They'd like to see this data side by side rather than jumping back and forth. Be able to click on the relationship to bring up the relationship chart. So if you're on here, just basically be able to click on this relationship here and it would bring up the relationship chart. Because right now you'd have to go tool, relationship calculator, view relationship chart. That maybe isn't as exciting as um, get down here, like say to a niece. But basically, they'd like to just be able to click on here, niece of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and bring up this chart. And then add a smart tab to view and create them on the person section. So basically from here, basically be able to create, probably on the media tab, basically be able to create a smart story. So right now you'd have to go to publish and other and smart story to get there. Okay, on places now, be able to attach media notes names to a place. Um, so basically, if you're under places, basically be able to add notes, maybe a picture, stuff like that. Could be handy, especially if you got like a church or cemetery. And so it's not tied to any one person, but it's tied to that fact. Now here we're going to have numerous things all kind of doing around here because with the place name database, that's where, if you want to get consistently named places, uh, basically they'd like a way to basically add and edit places because there are some cases where there's typos in there in the database, and be able to add places. And I know like over in the UK, some places they say is like way off how they do it. So basically be able to add and edit that database for what it chooses as official names. Have a unique symbol for when a place has been ignored. So say if I say, okay, I just want to ignore this place warning. Well, it just puts a check mark like it's resolved, but they want some special thing saying, hey, you actually did ignore it. Um, Time relevant place names and maps. Because right now this is all kind of going by based on the place name authority basically goes like, okay, what places are called now? But records, like Oslo, Norway was called Christiania, Norway. And I mean, there's certain things where certain locations, counties have broke off, county names have changed. So maybe this house has stayed the same location. But based on things, maybe counties have changed, county names have changed. Sometimes state boundaries have changed. It may look like this person jumped all over the place, but where really they smack dab. It's just the name of the place kept changing. Um, so it's basically a way of tying in the, the historical name with the current name, you know. Uh, Option to have the place name automatically add county or not. Because by default, it'll kind of take whatever the name word is closest to it. Some people always like to add the word county or parish if you're in Louisiana. Others don't. So basically have that option. Be able to generate a list of any unresolved places. Because I mean, you can do bring up the list, and well, right now you can't print it, you'd have to do screenshots. Because maybe you might want to research those people and places a little bit more. When working with places, have the list stay where it is. Because, like, if you start um, changing, say, like this Balfour, well, here, maybe this one's not a good. Well, I'll just do this and say that. Well, then, it jumps down there. Now, where was I? Now I gotta go back up here. Boom, it does that too. And so basically have it just stay where the list is and quit jumping the list around. And even if you do this, even that doesn't always work because then if you do too many of these, um, this will occasionally like, well, yeah, it kind of jumps up here. I'll do this one. Oh, that one I already did. Oh, this is right or not, but you change some of these and then eventually this is going to jump to the top of the list and well, no, it's not, but sometimes even working this way, it'll jump up to the top. So, um, yeah, then here have a more complete, accurate place name database. This kind of ties up to that one about being able to permanently edit. It's all circling around the same situation. Option to show just unresolved places, that's on here. Because here you'll see resolved and unresolved. You'd like the option to say, okay, just show me just the unresolved right here. I see these right here under US, these are all resolved, but the ones up here aren't. And if you're working with other countries, like see here, some more that aren't, and some up here that are, Bermuda and England. Be able to see just the unresolved. Um, Now, be able to select multiple locations to mark ignore. You can go up to resolve all places and say you can, yeah, mark multiples like this, but they know, okay, the first 11 I know I want to resolve. They like to be hold on the shift like you can with selecting multiple files, click down here and have all these in between just be marked ignore. So that's what they like. Uh, Be able to create maps based on criteria and filters. What this is on places. Basically, they would like to be able to have a filter to show like either um, everyone or like people in a filter, and then just show me, okay, their birth, marriage, and death locations for the people in this filter. So that's what they'd like, and then have it show up here, and so you'd see multiple dots all over the place. Uh, be able to jump to a location on the Places tab from the Person tab like you can from Tree View. So on Tree View, I'll get to some. So like Joseph, okay, he died in Hyannisport, Barnstable, Massachusetts. See where I can click on here, say go to this place. Okay, so boom, there we are. See now if you're on the Person tab, and here's where he died. I don't have the option of jumping to that place. I mean, yeah, I could do it, but like say here, maybe it's see here one of these residence facts. Well, you'd have to have the residence fact appear, and only the preferred fact would show. So if I did, only this Bronxville would work. Excuse me. But what if I wanted to go to Brookline? Well, I'd have to make this one the preferred fact, and then show have the residence fact show up, and just so I could jump to it. So they'd basically like to be able to jump to this place on the Places tab from here. That's that one. And be able to lock the zoom view on the map when switching places, because now as we go to places, born, the see the zoom zooms in and out, and basically they'd like the option to just now, yeah, granted these are states, but even say here between Bourne and Hyman, it's they'd basically like to be able to just lock the zoom factor, for so it doesn't zoom in and out. They'd just like to lock the zoom when switching between places. Have the option to anyway. On the plan tab, yeah, they'd like to basically just have a thing here where you could write stuff about, what this tree is about and stuff like that. Have just general information about that tree. It's not tied to a person. We have suggested just add a task, but if you use tasks heavily, that can easily get lost. Um, so they just like to have a dedicated spot to put like just general information about what that particular tree. Now in publish, this is the thing. Okay, option to have color coding on reports and other places in Family Tree Maker, because right now really color coding shows up here, on the name index, and up here it will it can show up on the sources tab, but that's about it. And even that will there's another suggestion about sources here. But like you can't print it on any reports or charts. Um, so they'd like that to happen. Plugins, chart and companion family book creator can utilize the color coding. They'd like a report that could just say give the number of grandchildren, great grandchildren for someone. Yeah, that's kind of pretty self-evident. Allow more than 3 choices for boxes and charts. So now you can put colors on charts. Let me go up here. But they are under yeah, box lines, and you got colors for like mark box 1, 2, 3. So you can take, okay, this person I want as marking 1. Okay, this one I want as marking 2. This one as marking 3. but that's the only option. They'd like more options for colors. Okay, here's a report to show everyone's profile pictures. This is kind of along the lines of having a filter for people that do or don't have a profile picture. Um, but this is just a report, like a type of a media report. Have an option to not auto-generate charts and reports because if you go into any report, it automatically generates. But then, like if you change stuff, especially on like a data errors report, you can jump to a person from there, but then when you come back, the report's going to automatically generate again. And sometimes that can take a while depending upon how many people are in your tree and how many options you got set. So that basically like the option to not have it automatically generate. I mean, you can cancel, but then you have to keep hitting cancel every single time you make a change. Um, Option to not print anyone living. Now you can privatize a tree before you generate a charter report, but then it will say living, surname, or maybe it'll just say living. Um, they want the option to say just don't print them at all. Don't even say living, just don't add them to the charter report. Media reports based on categories. You can assign media to categories. Um, you can, but then you can't report, say, okay, I want to print just these in the cemetery, or maybe in cemetery and, or maybe if, or, cemetery and story. I want to print both of those, stuff like that. You don't have that option. Um, be able to selectively add people, like specifically like in-laws to a chart, so basically it's kind of like when published a descendants chart, could say, okay, I would like to add this person's in-laws, or this person's, Caroline's in-laws. So I'd basically like to add Edwin's parents. I'd like to add Caroline's parents, basically have the option of adding in those. A dual insert chart, kind of like a bow tie for a couple with no children. Because right now, if you have a child, well, let's just do a bow tie chart here. Oops. Okay, it shows John with Joseph and Rose and stuff like that. Well, let's just say you didn't want like a child here. You just want Joseph and Rose and their ancestors. Um, they basically like that, without, we can, yeah, see, we can't remove this person from the chart. So it'd be like ancestors of Joseph and Rose, without having to have a child there. Because, sometimes you might have a couple that you want to do this chart for and they don't have a child. Right now, you'd have to add a fictitious child. Um, be able to print kinship on reports. I mean, right now there's the kinship report that does that, but if you'd want to do a descendants chart and basically to add, okay, this is the kinship, this is how they're related. Because if you do like a big report, that can get um, stuff. It can be handy. Have intrafamiliar chart, basically descendants charts with the person listed only once. So if you've got um, people where they're, especially where there's cousins that married cousins, each person would only be in that chart once. And then basically I'd have to say, okay, go over here, um, rather than having people duplicated in that chart. And especially like, because especially if you had cousins marrying, basically their descendants would be duplicated in multiple spots in the chart. So, uh, option out of the outline descendants report like it was in Family Tree Maker 2006. And what this was, and this is the same as Family Tree Maker version 16. And basically the outline descendants report, you had the option of displaying the spouse's parents. So that's what they're asking for, is an option to display the spouse's parents in an outline descendants report. This kind of ties back into those SQL access or third-party access. Uh, be able to identify where surname one married surname two, like where Smith married a Jones. Um, app option to show half siblings on a vertical pedigree chart. You got the option of showing your full siblings, but not half siblings. Um, option to print a name fact without the suffix. You don't have that option. It's like all or nothing. I think you've got the option of displaying the title, but not the suffix. And some people use the suffix field for other things, so they'd rather not print the suffix. Be able to use a filtered list for an extended family chart. Because the extended family chart, you got the extended family, you got the option you can even show everyone. Basically, they'd like to be able to do it for selected individuals or like for a filter. So it's like, okay, I want a chart just of these people, how they're all related. Uh, and then fan charts have the option to display just the year or just the lifespan. You don't have that option. It's like you can print the dates or not, but you can't say just the year. Uh, Likewise, on charts, be able to change the font and size on a per box basis because some boxes have more information, so maybe a smaller font. Other fonts don't have so much, so maybe you'd want to create a little bit bigger font. Have a descendant style chart that shows siblings of both couples. So yeah, so if you do you can do a chart and have it display the siblings of the starting person, but not of the spouse. So they'd like that option. Option to export charts is HTML format. This would be for to upload if you want to do your own website or upload it. You don't have that option with Family Tree Maker. You do with Charting Companion. Uh, this kind of goes to creating a genealogy website. Um, you can export as PDF or as an image, but not as HTML. Be able to add calculated values to reports and charts, such as number of children, age at death, things like that. Some of those you can do only on the custom report. You don't have those options elsewhere. Um, Hourglass chart for both couples, ancestors, and their descendants. Yeah, because you can do like an hourglass chart. Um, it's kind of along the lines of the bow tie chart. But see, here, see, we see JFK's parents, but not Jacqueline's parents. So basically, they'd like to see Jacqueline's parents too. Now, we could do this, say, from one of the children, and then we would get it, but then we wouldn't get, here, see, we could also display, here, let's add another generation of descendants. If we did it from one of the children, we could get the descendants of JFK Jr. and Caroline, but then we wouldn't get the descendants from Caroline, you know. So that's why they'd like that option. So starting from this, it'd show the ancestors of both couple. Uh, be able to add media to a timeline report because that's basically text. So basically be able to add media to it too. Uh, New one, report to download or portion like from a filter, the ancestry hints of people in the current citation. So basically, they want to generate a report. So you could either do it for all the people or say just from a filter. Okay, it's going to go to ancestors, say, okay, here's the hints that are available, and here's what you currently have for those people, what current citations you already have for those people. And so basically, I'd want to generate a report on that. For search, basically, search use standard Boolean searches. That's kind of goes into that SQL access in the third party. Basically, you know, you can do ands, ors, more elaborate searches and filters. Um, uh, then here, be able to limit searches and replace just certain facts. So maybe you want to do a search and replace, but say, okay, I only want to look at birth and death facts or something. I don't want it to look at other fact types. Sources and citations, ability to search and merge multiple citations. Right now, it's kind of one at a time. So if you've got like three or four, say, okay, these are the same, I want to merge them. You can't. You have to do it one at a time. Ability to merge the citation details into citation text field on web merges. Basically, when you do a web merge, you want options of where you want that information placed in the citations. Ability to auto merge sources. This would be for strictly identical sources. It could just automatically do it. Kind of like, how you can find duplicate people and it can do it, say, okay, find duplicate sources. Uh, Allow drag and drop a citation from one source to another. That's uh, when replacing sources, default to the previously named source rather than the first source in the list. So if you ever go up here, sources, and well, let's just say if I'd want to manage source, say, and merge it with this one. Well, see it, well, here, like I said, this one we don't have that many. Um, we don't have that many, but see, it always jumps to the top rather than say come down here where it was and say maybe I'd want to merge it with that. I don't, but it always jumps to the top of the list. And like I said, this is a very small tree, not too many sources. It's just a test tree. But if you got like thousands of sources and stuff, and then it's thing because you could be down here, and say maybe you got two U.S. passport applications. Well, you go to merge them, and then it's going to jump clear up to the top, and so you got to scroll all the way down. So, to have frequently used source citations. So if there's certain ones you always use, just have them frequent. right at hand rather than having to go down and scroll down to find them. Uh, Make editing sources more like editing facts. When you edit facts, you've got lots of different options and ways to do it. Um, you can go there. I mean, you've got options down here. Oh, yeah, go down here. You can do fact data options, see it. You've got lots of options. Copying, pasting, and basically they'd like those same options for sources where it's a lot more limited. You don't have quite as many. You don't have quite the robustness. Uh, Color coding and stylize for sources. They'd basically like to add colors to the sources. Some people want to color code certain information on the sources and citations. Maybe the detail would be a certain color, text would be another color, or even stylizing, so to make it underlined, italic, stuff like that. Be able to select preferred media when there are two or more media attached to a citation. Because right now we'll do a thumbnail based on the first image added. You can add more media, but you don't have an option of changing the thumbnail. Uh, some cases found it will remove formatting. Doesn't want that to do that. This categories for sources. This is all about ways to um, basically a way of finding sources that you use frequently, and so basically create categories for sources. Have a free form. I mean, there is a basic generic template, but basically they want a free form one where basically no predefined names or anything. Uh, so just completely free form. They can have complete control over it. Uh, be able to access the home person and bookmarks and sources people view. So if you're in sources on people or on person view, basically have a way to get to the home person, kind of like how you can, or even to see people you've got bookmarked. Because on here, you can always hit the home person. Um, you can even see, well, I don't have people bookmarked, but you've got options to see people that you might have bookmarked. So here, let me add a bookmark here, add a bookmark there, so you can just see those people. And basically they'd like something similar to that on the sources from here. And create your own templates. There are some templates already that just basically like to do that. Be able to unlink multiple citations from a person at once. So basically, let me go here, here there are, so we would basically want to be able to say, well, let's see, I don't want this one and this one. You'd want to unlink multiple at the same time. Rather than right now you have to go to each individual fat. Okay, get rid of this one, that one. Okay, that one's also here. Get rid of it here. On person tab, have citations tab to see all citations attached to a person. Because right now you basically have to go to the fact to see it. Most of them are tied to the name fact, but not always. But basically just have a way, like some way say, okay, show me every citation attached to this person. Like I said, typically, they are attached to the name fact, but not always. Tool to find and merge duplicate citations. That's kind of be able to privatize just the citation. This would be so it doesn't sync to Ancestry. The data would sync, but not the citation. the person being is say, like you say, if it was like from personal knowledge of a person, you may have the person's address, phone number, maybe email, and this person could be living. And if this information is for someone that's deceased, well, someone on Ancestry, if your tree is public, they can see that citation information, so they could see that um, information in the citation. Right now, you'd have to privatize the fact that that citation's attached to, which then would sync with Ancestry. Uh, be able to paste a citation to multiple facts at once. You can, that's kind of self-evident. Have options showing just people in a filter under sources. So that's likewise when you're under sources and by person, be able to see just a filter. Again, that's kind of like how it is on the name index, where you can have a filter of people and show just those. Uh, in person view, be able to adjust the column to show the color codes. Yeah, so this is back on the color coding. See, like on person tab, you can adjust these columns, but on sources, say here's the colors, you can adjust these columns at more. And if you got something with like three, four, five colors assigned to the same person, I mean, you wouldn't even be able to see all those colors. You'd only be able to see maybe three colors. Uh, okay, yeah, allow search and replace to work on the web address field of a citation because right now whoops. Um, I guess this one would have it. Well, basically the web address field, I guess this one doesn't have it, but it wouldn't find that web address in a search and replace. From the citation, be able to jump to a specific fact it is attached to. So, like if you've got, well, that's the person. Hang on here. Whoops. Go to the source title. Like one world tree. So here's a citation. And see, it's attached to all these facts and people. Oh, no. Well, okay, yeah, from there you can. But if you open up the source to look at that, bring up the source of facts, you can't jump to it. I guess down here you can. So, but they want to be able to do it from the citation. Uh, Next on sync, basically they want to basically prioritize an individual itself. You can prioritize the facts, but they just don't want that person on Ancestry at all. Sync to other sites besides Ancestry and keep them in sync, because there's Find My Past, there's well, even Family Search. But even like certain like DNA sites, like GEDmatch, stuff like that. Family Tree DNA, 23andMe. Uh, Sometimes some media gets hung up uh, and it'll give a media processing error. Right now, you have to go to live chat to do it. And basically, you send them a log, they'll tell you which ones. And basically, they just like a way for Family Tree Maker say, okay, I'm having trouble either downloading this image or uploading this image. Um, Ability for resolve places to remain after sync. If you got custom resolve place name, you sync it to Ancestry, that name will change, but say then this will go, say if you've got multiple trees, you download that customer place name, the data will be there, but it won't be resolved on the other computer. Or likewise, if you have to re-download your tree from Ancestry, that place would no longer be reserved. Same thing if you attach a record on Ancestry to that place, even if you don't change the place name, when you sync, well, that place won't be resolved again, so you have to re-resolve it. Ability to pause, resume a sync. So if you've got a lengthy sync process to be able to pause it and resume at a later date. That can be problematic, especially if you make changes after that, but people wanted that. More detailed pre-sync log and detailed post-sync log verification report. Because right now it just kind of tells you people. Then if the sync fails, it's, the data at Ancestry will remain in their pre-sync states. They've kind of did it because typically if you get a sync failure, you should sync again. But basically just more backup type to it. Ancestry has my tree tags. They'd like them to sync. That's kind of up to Ancestry to provide that information. I have actually seen a mock-up, so Software McKee is ready for my tree tags if Ancestry will provide the information. Um, have a warning. So if there's been a lot of changes, it can maybe give a warning. Say, hey, you got a lot of changes. You might consider syncing. This can also be handy, especially because if you're resolving place names, you can change one place name and that could affect 100 people, if not more. Depends upon who in your tree all has an event at that place. Have Ancestry's DNA match connect sync with Ancestry. That sort of does it because Ancestry recently made a change where they'll add a citation, but they don't attach it to any fact. So on Ancestry, so does add the citation, but then it'll become an unlinked citation because it's not attached to any fact. On Ancestry, you can attach it to a fact and then that would sync. And then here, option to export the sync log as a CSV. Right now, you've only got an option as a PDF. Now tasks, we're getting there, almost done. Be able to assign a task to multiple people. Right now, you can only assign a task one person at a time. Then here, ability to copy a task from one person to another. Auto add a checklist of items to a task when adding ancestors or adding people, so you might have standard things, okay, birth, marriage, death. So whenever you add a person, it'll automatically add those tasks for you. Have a note section for a task if you need to give a more extended description. And then when you complete a date, to have it save the date you completed it. So, okay, on tree view now, always show the option showing the closest blood relationship that's up here. And this kind of goes back to that thing where if you're related in multiple ways, uh, it'll show the closest relationship even if it's not by blood, even if you are related by blood. So they want the option of showing the closest blood relationship. Uh, Ability to see and differentiate between adopted, step, biological children on the family group screen. So from here, they like to, under relationship status, you can change it, to if they're biological or the children if they're biological, adopted. They'd basically like some type of visual distinction down here as to what that relationship status is. Um, have a unique triangle color for children with a spouse but no children. Perfect example here, here for Caroline, it's a filled in triangle because she does have children. Um, JFK and Patrick both have this singular triangle. Well, Patrick, well, died at 2 days old. He obviously doesn't have a spouse. Um, John Fitzgerald has a spouse, but no children, or at least not that's in this tree. So basically, they'd like a different distinction between John and Patrick. So you could say, okay, they've got a spouse, but no children, you know. Allow multiple AKA facts to be shown as separate name index entries. You've got the option in here to use AKA as an available name as an additional entry. So like John F. Kennedy. And then this person has, oh, go to this John F. Kennedy. Has Jack. I also typed in Fred. Um, so Jack shows up here, but Fred doesn't. So, I mean, if I make Fred the preferred, then he would show up there. They'd basically like all of them to show up. And in this case, they'd assume they'd have more names, full names, rather than nicknames. But that can also account for different surname spelling, stuff like that. Um, okay, I want to be able to jump to a person and family tree maker to that person in your ancestry tree, similar to family search. So family search, you've got this family search ID. You can click on it and it'll take you right to them in family search, you know. They'd basically like the same option, if your tree's synced, to basically jump to them on your ancestry tree. Not just, I mean, on the plan tab, you can go to the tree, but well, that person's a home person, so yeah, it went there. But if I was on, say, James Hickey, for instance, I'd want to go to James Hickey in that tree. So right now I'd have to go here, then okay, I'd have to find James and you know up here, which where- okay, tree vault. Basically, they just like this goes hand in hand with Family Tree Connect. They basically like to say, okay, how much media is actually in there? Tree vault, that's the thing where it backs up to the cloud. Uh, in some cases, uh, they offer like the one with no media, they got like a 10 gig media, and then it jumps up to like 100 gig media, or is it 200 gig? Uh, Well, on my tree, I've got like 18 gig and I'm on the 10 gig plan. And right now, I think it just goes to, okay, the first 10 gig media gets backed up and any new media won't. And basically, it wants you to, an option to prioritize which media does get backed up. And my case, I'd maybe want the newest media or, because I'll have other backups, but or maybe you don't care about the citation media because that you can always download and stuff like that. Um, so basically to prioritize what media does get backed up. On web search, be able to pre-edit records for family members for web merging. So like on here, uh, if we got here, say here at 1940 census, see here I can pre-edit the stuff I want for John F. Kennedy, but not for his parents. I can like pre-edit what I got here, So I was like, okay, I don't want age there. That's just me. Maybe you might want to um, resolve that place name. You can do all this, but now for these people, you can't. So they're still going to have that unresolved place name there and stuff like that. You don't have that option with these people, and you don't even have this option if, say, you're going to be adding someone new, like maybe we didn't have John Kennedy's parents at all, then you wouldn't even have the option to even edit this. So they want the option to um, pre-edit records for the other family members. Uh, and here they want the web merge to operate the same with Ancestry as it does for like Family Search and other sites without needing to use Web Clipper, like Find My Past and stuff. Where, yeah, you can just merge records, right now, yeah, it's not perfect, but um, it's a lot easier because Family Search, you actually, in any new records, you have to merge to that person and then merge that data down from there, and then plus the media doesn't come. So, um, yeah. Uh, so I mean, the web merge is really geared towards Ancestry, and they'd like it to work similar to other sites as well. Be able to merge with an existing alternative fact. So right now, it only gives you the option of merging with the preferred fact, or you can add it as an alternative fact. But if you already have the alternative fact, which you can't tell without actually going and looking, then you'll have a duplicate alternative fact. Um, so basically, you know, you just want to be able to merge with an existing alternative. Greater control to change and adapt additional fact types pre-merge. Back to here, maybe you don't want residence fact, you want the census fact, you want to use the census fact. Well, right now you can't do that. They'd like the option to say, okay, I want to merge this data, but I want to merge it as a census and stuff like that. Or even possibly, 'cause sometimes there's so much information in the description field here that they would want it split into multiple facts, because maybe sometimes they list the occupation, years married, so it can go into a marriage fact and stuff like that. When they arrived, how long they've been there, stuff like that. So you may want to actually split it out into multiple fact types pre-merge. Right now, you'd have to do it. Um, and then lastly, show a pop-up when hovering mouse on records on Ancestry, like you get in your own browser. So uh, if we do a search here, and so you do a Texas, see if you click on that, nothing really happens. But now I did a thing here now here. This is doing the same search on it. But see if I click on it, you kind of get this pop-up here of more information. So it's easier to read and stuff without going into the record. Because right here it just shows birth, death, residence. Same thing here, birth, death, residence. If you click on that, if you want to see really all the detail, you'd have to click on here to see it. Where an Ancestry, you can do that. So, oh, okay, boom, boom, boom. And then, or you got the option to see the media item, which you do have here too. But basically, they want this pop up, which they don't have. So And that's suggestions. So now how I did is same orders in here. Once you're done, just click submit. I won't do that while I can. I didn't put in my email address. So enjoy and please vote and let other people know. So thank you and uh, good evening.